Well, thanks for sitting down with us today, gentlemen. A couple minutes to talk about the new 300 film. First off, I wanted to chat with you about the interesting challenge that's posed from a sequel to 300. You kind of have two different conflicting interests, trying to emulate Zack Snyder's original vision while at the same time adding something new. So can you talk about a little bit how you reconciled that, how you were trying to approach that difficult task?
Well, I think from the get-go, and that's really compliment to everybody involved, including the studio. The idea was, how do you make something that is a companion piece or a second stories in a building, right, versus just emulating or copying the original. And I think that from a thematic point of view, there was a whole issue, obviously, how do you move forward a story where everybody died at the end? Right. And that's one of the challenges, and that is before I came on, obviously, because that Kurt and Zach and Frank, they had to deal with it. But I think from a storytelling or cinematic point of view, and also from a visual point of view, really was the issue was, how do you keep your ties and pays homage and respect to the original and fulfill that part of it, while not just doing the same thing again, but really pushing it forward. So I think that the technology allowed it to do it. Thematic issues in the movie or themes in it were incredibly important, because it happens on water. The geography is different, and also there is a strong female character, the villain, in the center of it. So really, we had a lot of freedom and opportunity to really build from that.
So as the creative team, you didn't find that to be very restrictive, more liberating maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think that early on, as we started trying to solve the problems, in the narrative, in the themes of the movie, the core elements of kind of honor, duty, glory, kind of all the things that we were focused in on the first film, we wanted to replicate those, push those off onto the second film, and really, just really amplify them. Zach always said, just put more steroids on it, make it just more intense. You can't have the drama or the emotionality or the heartbreak. It can never hit hard enough. You can never, his phrase is just punch, keep punching the audience and have them experience something. And that's really, the drive is not to make a movie, but it's to make an experience. And that we did that on the first film, and certainly on the second film, I think we've made an experience.
For a film that ultimately found its footing on the sea, were there any other drafts of the script that took place elsewhere, maybe focused more on the Spartans, maybe a different portion of the war?
No, I mean, it's pretty much, there were very, obviously you're always, refining and tweaking the script, and I think we were, I don't know, maybe on draft 12 or 18, I can't remember how many. But it was really a distillation process. You kind of overwrite in the beginning, and you start leaning things out and just getting to the core of what the movie should be and speak to. And it was always about these three battles, the naval battles, Themistocles, Artemisia. That's always been the drive of the movie, the focus of the movie.
Can either of you speak a little bit about the change in the title that took place from the Battle of Artemisia to Rise of an Empire?
I'm not sure how it all came about. This is sort of a little bit out of our straight responsibility.
Originally we wrote, and it was called Xerxes, and
right.
Just because it was Frank's graphic novel that he was working on, and then I think we named it. It had the next name, and then finally, I think it was a studio decision of okay. Is that too hard to pronounce, or is that or is it more than just the Battle of Artemisia? And let's make this just kind of bigger for the brand.
Distilled it to that.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting shift in this from the narration happening from Delios, David Wenham's character, to Gorgo, Lena Headley's character. Was that always in every version of the script, or was it maybe revisiting having Delios narrate just like in the first film?
Yeah, we tried a couple different things, and I think what ended up happening is, which was interesting, is that that we ended up landing on Lena's character, because in a strange way, what that did is it invested all the emotional qualities of the first movie, if you've watched the first movie, that just get brought in when she enters on on the screen. And so just by giving her the moment of like, I'm going to tell this story about my husband who laid down his life and 300 of his men, all of a sudden it just elevated something. Because we played around with different characters being the narrator or the storyteller,
Sure.
and it wasn't as powerful. And as soon as you heard her voice, you're like, okay, like now I get like
This is definitely
yeah,
a
I get
300
yeah,
film.
I get where this movie's going. And it also, because a lot of the movie doesn't focus on the Spartan world,
Right.
that the fun of it, you know, and without giving away too much, is that
Sure.
you get to go back into the Spartan world and embrace that culture and that attitude and that just, you know, everything that was fun about the first movie, you know,
Sure.
through her character.
And you have two very strong female characters between her and Eva Green's character. Was there ever a draft of the script that saw those two characters face off against each other in like a head-on-head kind of battle? Fisticuffs, maybe?
No, there wasn't. But
No cat fights.
yeah, no cat fights. I mean, because Zach and I always approached it as like, if you're writing a female character, especially, you know, kind of warrior characters, to write it like you'd want Brad Pitt to play the character. You want like the coolest guy actor to want to like fight and kill to play that part. So what's cool about that, and the ladies both Lena and Ava said this, is just like it's like so fun just to be tough and have attitude because they don't get to always do that.
Unapologetic.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
unapologetic.
think that's really a lot of it, is that I think we all find that a lot of times female characters in that capacity need to apologize for their motivation and actions. And I think that's part of what made this so wonderful, is that, you know, Artemisia does not apologize. And that is, men don't do that. Why should women do that?
Equal footing, right? So since the 300 films take place mostly on green screen, and even with a pretty substantial budget like this film has, did you run into any roadblocks or challenges that you had to overcome, and how did you tackle those?
Well, I think every movie has a variety of problems and issues, and they are the box you work in, and that box is actually a very fulfilling thing because you actually solve problems. That's the job ahead. And yeah, the scale. This movie takes place on water,
Right.
and we shot on a dry stage. And I don't think that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure that we've really seen that kind of scale on water, and that poses a variety of challenges and issues.
Sure.
And I think it looks good.
I think it came out really great. Thank you so much for your time and sitting down with us.
Thank you.
Right.
Appreciate it.